Hey guys, what's up? Steve here again today. I wanted to make a video about my 1 year anniversary, quote unquote, since I have not worked due to mental disorders. It's been a wild year. I have learned a lot, and some of it's good, some of it's bad. And I guess I'll start from the beginning. I learned that I took my mental health for granted. I took my everyday life for granted. My normal self, quote unquote, if there's a definition of normal, my normal self for granted. I took happiness for granted. It's something a lot of us take for granted, and it's sad. But I know for a lot of us that money and family problems and even the future can cause tremendous amount of anxiety and a tremendous amount of depression. And for me, I know that my doctors have told me it's hard to look back in the past to think about what might have caused X, Y, and Z when it was so long ago. It's really hard to look back. But me looking back, what was going on in my life was the future. It was money and family problems. The future and family problems was probably the number one and number two. I haven't really openly talked about my family problems on this channel, but yes, my parents went through a divorce years ago. It tore apart my family, and things just aren't the same as they used to be. It's sad, it's unfortunate, and it, especially around the holidays now. Thanksgiving's coming up, and Christmas and New Year's, it's always the toughest times for people who are depressed and have family problems. And I feel for you, because I'm feeling it too. Reflecting, my wife, on the 11th, she said, "Hey Steve, tomorrow will be 1 year since you haven't worked." And I knew that, but I didn't really bring it to her attention. And she said, what a year it's been. She said, "You've been through so much in this last year, and you made it through an unbelievable amount of stuff," which is true. I learned so much. I learned about doctors and their problems with, number one, diagnosing people with the wrong mental issue or disorder or illness. I learned about their problems with prescribing the right medication and listening to their patients, and the ignorance and arrogance of some doctors, which is so fucking sickening. I learned that most of these doctors, they are less accurate than the weathermen, and I've said that in more videos. But it's just sad and sickening when they turn a blind eye, especially when it comes to benzodiazepines, and not knowing how to properly get their patients off of them, and not knowing the ins and outs of depression, anxiety, mood disorders, mental illnesses, not knowing to test for serotonin, norepinephrine, dopamine, and epinephrine, and vitamin B's and vitamin D's, and so many other things that could be possibly wrong with somebody before they go ahead and give them psychiatric drugs, which seems to be the go-to, and it's sad. And with 40 to 50% of people being on disability with depression and anxiety just in America alone, it should definitely raise a couple red flags on why people still aren't better, but they're still taking their fucking medications. I'm one of them. I'm still not 100% better. It's been over a year since I've been taking antidepressants and anti-anxiety medication. All I do is mask the problem. All I do is they cover it up, and doctors will love for you to just keep going back and keep going back to get your medication. Meanwhile, all they're doing is putting a cover over the real issue, which most doctors don't even want you to find out the real issue. They just want you to keep coming back for medicine. It's sad. I learned about my problems with my depression, what triggers my depression, my anxiety, you know, my self-confidence has really gone down the drain. Every time I look at my friends or family, I feel like they're looking right through me, like I have something wrong with me. It's like something I have to work through, and it's something that I've been working on. I know that I love them and they love me, but you know, it's kind of like a self-conscious, triggers my anxiety. It forces me to have to fight that thought that I am still Steve and they are still my family, my friends, and you know, just because I've had mood disorders for the last year and a couple months doesn't mean I'm a different person, and doesn't mean that they look at me any differently. It's just a self-conscious thing. That's something that I've learned and I've been working on. Relationships with people. My relationships with my friends, my wife, my family, they have definitely become a factor through the whole thing. If you're new to mood disorders, I definitely recommend trying your hardest to maintain and work on your relationships with your loved ones, with your friends, with your family, with your significant other, because they're the most important people in your life and will stick by you through the good times and the bad. So it's really easy to isolate yourself when you have depression, when you have anxiety. You just want to be by yourself. You feel like there's something so wrong with you, and you feel embarrassed to have it be seen. So that's why a lot of people isolate. They don't want people to see you. You don't want people to see yourself in pain. At least that's from my point of view. My job. I had no idea that a mental illness, mental disorder could ever disable me so much that I would not be able to work. Even a normal job, like a regular job, not even a physical one, not even a part-time job, for so long. It took so much effort to be able to get to the point where I am today, and I'd say 50%, 60% better, and that's saying a lot, you know. And just coming around to realizing that I may possibly be able to work says a huge amount from last year, you know. It's crazy, but I've had a tremendous amount of luck. I've been so lucky, and I know that there's some people out there that don't have the luck that I've had. I feel sorry for you guys who haven't had the luck that I've had. I've had a tremendous amount of support from my friends and my family, no matter how much I don't want to admit it. I've had a roof over my head. I've had help paying my bills, warm meals, a loving family, loving friends. I got married. I had an awesome wedding. It was the best time of my fucking life. All my friends were there. Everybody that I loved. Besides a couple people who couldn't make it, but they had their own personal reasons, you know, and some family that I missed and some friends. They couldn't be there, unfortunately. But anyways, one of the best times in my life. And I married such an amazing woman who stood by me and lived with me. Just changed my complete change overnight. It just hit like a sack of bricks, my depression and my anxiety. She stuck by me through it all, and I can get a little upset. I can never ever forget, and I'll always appreciate what she's done and what she does for me every day. Excuse me. I mean, depression and anxiety for over a year. Then I had a fucking heart attack. She she's still here. Whew. I guess I picked a good one, you know. When I met her about 8 years ago, I knew there was something special about her, and sometimes I do take her for granted, but this last year I definitely haven't. And one thing I've learned in this last year was the amount of drive and desire that you need. You need, not want, you need a drive and a desire to get better, to even make an attempt at a comeback from major depressive, clinical depression, major depressive disorder, whatever anxiety you're dealing with. You need to truly make changes and turn things around in your life. Cut things out, cut people out, add new people in, add new things into your life. Make serious fucking changes to your life that will benefit you. And if there's anything that is dragging you down, no matter how hard it is, it's for the better of you. It's for the better of your mental health, your physical health, your overall health. If somebody or something is killing you inside and you can't just seem to let it go, you have to just do it. Because there's been a lot of changes that I've made. There's been a lot of people that I've stopped talking to. There's been people I've removed from Facebook, just because of the negativity that I've seen them post, and people in my life who or I was close to, who I purposely don't talk to anymore, just because of the negativity and all the bullshit that they bring along. It's just not good for your mental health. It's not good for you as a person. It's not good for you in your life. And I don't associate with those people, and there's things that I've done that I don't do anymore. I look at things from a more positive perspective. I used to always look at things from a negative perspective, and I had to change that. I had to be more positive. I was always quote-unquote negative Nancy. I would always be looking at the what ifs and what could happen, and I was always an overthinker, and always tried my hardest, and I was always been stubborn, and I just can't be stubborn anymore. I have to, like I said, make the changes and do things better for me, not for everyone else. And the sooner that I did that, and the sooner that I learned how to, the better off I've become. Now, I know that there's still plenty of work ahead of me. Having kind of a rough day today, and I know for most of us, when you have depression, anxiety, whatever mood disorder you may have, you do have good days, you do have bad days. And before my mental disorders, my mental health disorders, my good days and my bad days were a whole different level. And dealing with depression, dealing with anxiety, my good days and my bad days are a completely different definition. So that's my reflection on this last year. If you guys have any questions or comments for me, please don't hesitate. And like I say all the time, guys, if you're still hurting, you're still suffering, please keep fighting, please keep your heads up, and please keep surviving. I'll see you guys in the next video. Be well.